on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm just checking that we're on Facebook because you never know. I'm just going to get it up so that as well, because if I get it up, then I can actually see any comments. I should see them on here in the chat if I have it. Where's my chat gone? Chat, there we go. Yes, I have it there too, which is lovely. And hopefully, if I can get into this, I can check that we are. Come on, thank you. Check that we are actually live in here as well. Let's have a look. Come on. Oh, it's really not. Yes, it is. There we go. I'll be able to just check that as well, which would be good. So, welcome everybody. Lovely to see you if you're here. If you are watching, then please do say hello, say who you are, and pop it in the chat so we can have a little bit of a discussion. I don't like that we don't have the live stuff. That's why I do Zooms on most Thursdays. This Thursday actually is an in-person class, so there isn't a Zoom, but otherwise we have a Zoom every Thursday, apart from when there's the in-person class. And that allows me to talk, obviously, to people, which is better than chat in a way. But I will keep up the chat. So if you are watching, please let me know who you are and where you're from. And we'll get going with things. So I'm just going to swap over, rather than you see me just chatting away. I'm going to swap to my desk view so you see what's on my desk, which is just a pile of stuff at the moment. But I thought we'd have a little sneak peek today of one of the new products from the new annual catalogue, which comes out at the beginning of May. We've been lucky enough to be able to order stuff early, which has been nice. And well, I might as well show you from the top. These are some lovely new pearls, basic grey and smoky slate pearls. And they're absolutely gorgeous and they fit with my project today. So I thought we'd have a little look at those. They're really absolutely gorgeous. I really like those. I'm going to use as well some of the in colour. This is the 23 to 25 in colour, the current in colours. We have new colours starting in May as well, which I showed you last week. You can look at my live from last week if you want to know what those are. But what I'm going to do today is focus on this particular. I'm going to use that. I'm going to leave that out. Pebble Path twine. I'm going to use that in a minute. But the bundle I wanted to talk about is the Spotlight on Nature bundle. And it is a bundle of dies and this lovely stamp set. And the dies are unbelievably good. I'm going to show you those in a minute. But this is the actual stamp set. This is Spotlight on Nature. It's just got a couple of sentiments, thanks and dear friends, but a beautiful font. It's got a couple of little grungy sort of backgrounds, a crosshatch and dotty background. It's got this lovely leaf, which is very similar to the flowering leaves, but it's a little bit bigger. And then it's got this lovely flower cluster and a rather beautiful butterfly. Now, you'd think if it came as a bundle, you'd get dies to cut these things out, but no, the dies that go with it, Spotlight on Nature dies, are these. And these are just absolutely fantastic. It's a double set of dies. This is what you get with the die bundle. So if I bring them a bit closer, you can just see the patterns. So we've got like a leaf pattern, a sort of, I don't know what to call it, a sort of dot and dash pattern. This lovely, it's sort of like at the edge of a coin, really, I suppose I describe it, like a, just a sort of, I don't know what, I can't think of words today, but anyway, that pattern. And then they're in the other sizes as well. So you've got two sizes in this set of dies and then a reverse set. So you've got, they actually nest inside one another of the different sorts, which is rather nice. Although I have used two different dies in this particular card. I probably should have used the two the same, but hey, what the heck, you can mix and match. But they really are beautiful dies. So you have three of these ones, these, no, four, that's right, because you've got the inner one as well, of this sort of, I don't know what to call it, hatched one around the edge. Then you've got four of these ones of the little sort of flower clusters of the four different sizes, and four again of these dashy ones. So you've got 12 dies in all, four of each of the three different types, they're just fabulous. It's such a lovely, lovely set. So that is the Spotlight on Nature dies and the stamp set. So given it's called Spotlight on Nature, I thought we'd make a spotlight card today. I don't know if you've seen spotlight cards. There's quite a few of them around. I've actually made some of the bits to sew it. It doesn't take too long to go through all of this lot. So I'm going to use an ordinary card base, which is the usual 21 by 14.8 scored at 10.5, or inches. I keep meaning to look this up so I get it right. I think it is 8.5 inches by 5 1/4. I think that's right, but I'll put it all in the blog when I write this up later, so you can see the inches. I'll get the inches measurements correct. I should just measure it and then I'd know, wouldn't I? So it's not quite the same. Yeah, it's 5 1/2. So 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and you score it at 4 1/4. I think that's right for American sizes, but I will check before I put them in the blog. Then I've got a layer for the front, which we're going to do some stamping on, and this layer is for centimetre sizes. Again, it's 1/2 centimetre less. So for American sizes, you want to do 1/4 inch less. So this is in centimetres 10 by 14.3. And I've also got a second one, which is slightly smaller, which is going to go inside the card, and that is 9.5 by 13.8. So another 1/4 inch smaller if you're doing American sizes. And then I've already cut out 2 circles from these dies. You can see the beautiful effect these dies have. They're absolutely gorgeous. Really are lovely. So as I say, I could have done 2 the same. I could always cut another one, but yeah, I might do 2 the same instead of different. Yeah, I can use that one again. So I might just get out the other die and change my mind about having 2 the same instead of 2 different ones. So I'm going to get the slightly smaller one of these. That's the one I want. So I'm just going to cut that out. Let me find a scrap that's got room on it. What's that one? Wow, that is just big enough. I should be able to just get it out of that bit. Whoa, that's very close. Right, we'll see. I'm just going to nip across to my machine and cut that out. I'll be back in a sec. There, back again, and I've got my bit cut out. Just need to poke out the few little bits that are remaining. These dies do cut beautifully, but whenever you have a very detailed dies like these, you sometimes need to poke out the few remaining. Oops, he dropped it on the floor. Few remaining bits, and the sums actually do stick in the die. So I've got a brush. You can get a lovely brush which does this quickly, but I'll just poke them out with my pokey tool. Clean my die before I put it away, which I always like to do. If you don't clean out the dies, they don't perhaps always cut so well if you leave them bunged full of bits. So it's always worth just making sure all the bits have come out of your die. There we go. So I can put that away now. So let's get on with making the card now. I've actually got the bits together. Ooh. Right, so, and I've just realised I just have to move that a minute while I get some blocks. There we go. Let you see me back again in the corner. I forgot to get the blocks before. Right, so we're going to have this die, this stamp, and I want to use the butterfly. And I also want to use, shall we use the leaves as well? No, I don't think so. We're just going to use one of the background stamps. I think we'll use the little hash background stamp. I just need a smaller block for that. There we go. So we'll have the little hash background stamp, I think, as well. So, oops, I've lost my back. Right, no comments on there yet. Nothing in the chat here yet. Do let me know if you are watching. Otherwise, I'll just talk to myself and you can watch it later instead of live. So there we go. So here are my bits. And I have my larger piece of front. Make sure I'm actually going to stamp the right things on the right places. And I'm going to use, to match my background, I'm going to use grey granite. So I'll get grey granite out. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually stamp my main image, which is this flower. Now it's quite a big stamp, so you want to be careful when you're inking up these sorts of stamps that you make sure you get the ink completely covering the stamp. So we do, and we're going to have that about here. There we go. Yep, that'll do there. And I'm going to use this in the background, just dot it around to give it a little more interest. There. Oh, you said I'm going to use the butterfly. Yes, I am, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it in a minute. So that's just my very simple background to the stamp. I also need to just do something. I'm going to just use the end of this, I think, just the actual flower head on the inside of my card. So not the whole stamp, just the flower head there. Oops, should have put something underneath, so I picked up those bits. Dearie me. Yeah, so as I say, if you are watching, do let me know where you're from and what you're doing. Get a bit of paper just to put underneath this stamping so I don't make such a mess on the desk. I don't really want to get that. This is my envelope, so I'm just going to use the same flower head as a little decoration on the envelope, so I might as well do that at the same time. Okay. Actually, I'm going to leave this out because my next stage is going to be to do my actual spotlight bits. So for this card, it's basically a way of, I'm not going to do anything else to this background. I've just left it with the flower there, and I'm going to have the butterfly up here somewhere, probably out of sentiment at some point as well, but we'll worry about that later. But I want to spotlight the flower, and I'm going to have that sitting there to spotlight it. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the flower, but this time because I'm going to colour it, I want to stamp it in memento. So I want it to stand out. That's the whole point of a spotlight card. It spotlights a little bit of the actual stamp. So I'm going to stamp my flower so it's roughly in the middle of my circle. This is why I've die cut the circle first. And then when that sits on there, I can line it up so that it actually spotlights. Yeah, get the idea? It'll all become clear in a bit. So I'm just going to clean that stamp, and then we'll do the spotlight for the butterfly, which I haven't bothered actually stamping on the card because I'm going to just leave him separate. And I could just leave with the one spotlight. I fancied adding the butterfly as well. So we're going to add that to the second circle. I've already cut out my die cut circle. I checked, by the way, that this was the right size, believe me, first before I started. So we'll have our butterfly in the middle of that circle. And again, I'm going to, colour in. So I wanted to do it in memento. If I'm using blends, you really need to use memento. If you try and colour on the back of all the ordinary stamping inks, then it can just smudge and not look as good. But it's up to you. But to me, using the black just highlights again the image, which is what we're trying to do with this spotlight idea. I'm just going to clean this other stamp as well while I've got my stamping chamois out. It's a bit disgusting. Don't look too closely at that. It's amazing how dirty it gets. Right, get the ink out of the way so I don't make any more mess on there. And get my bits there and get that scrap paper out of the way. And then we can do some colouring. So, got to decide what colours to use. What do you suggest? What colour shall I do my butterfly and my flower head to match the grey granite? Got all my blends here. So we've got almost unlimited choice. So it's up to you. Anybody want to suggest colours? Otherwise, I'm going to go with some of my favourites. So we might go with, Highland Heather. I do like Highland Heather. So we might go with Highland Heather. And we'll match that with some Bubble Bath, I think. What else have we got? There's a green. Let's go with Granny Apple Green for the leaves and the stem. I think there's not very much of that, so only a little bit we need there. So do we need another colour? We possibly do. Let's see about, is that Flirty Flamingo? Is that a bit too bright? Perhaps not. I need another colour to go with the, should we have a yellow as well? No, it might be too much. Let us go with, might go with Moody Mauve actually. Oh, yeah, I might go with that. That's because they're in colours. I have them in a separate place, so they're over there. Okay, so I think we'll go with those. Quite like those. So as I say, I'm not going to colour the card front because we just want to spotlight those two things on the card. So I'm going to start off with, whenever I'm colouring, I just want to use the lighter colour first. I'm not going to bother too much about the colour of this. I just want to put a little bit on because there's very little of that stem showing, but if I'm spotlighting it, I need to show something. So that's all we need for the green. So then I think we'll use the pink for the flower and the purples for the butterfly. That's my guess. As nobody's suggested anything else, that's what I'm going to go with. So, no, nobody's suggested anything on Facebook either. So when I'm colouring with blends, I like to colour the main lighter colour first and then add in the darker colour. Now, I've got a friend who does this so beautifully, a couple of friends actually, who do all the colouring beautifully. I personally just sort of bung colour on. I'm not too worried about it, but the beautiful thing about the stamps is that it shows you where you should put some colour. So I'm just colouring with the darker blend. I'm colouring in where there's the highlight on the stamp. So all these lines here are showing me there's a little bit of highlights, and around the top of the petals here too. So I think with Bubble Bath there's not quite so much difference between the dark and the light of the blends actually. There. Hopefully there's enough for you to be able to see where around they stick together. My little circles and I stick my blends together are starting to fail in some cases. So that's my flower. Okay, you can just hopefully see the two blends on there. And now we're going to do the butterfly. So I'm going to have darker colours towards the middle, lighter to the outside, or the other way around. I think we'll have it the other way around. So we'll do a lighter colour for these closer ones. So again, I'm using the lighter of the two blends to start with here. And then I'm going to bring, as I say, a friend of mine would actually do these one at a time, whereas I'm a bit gung-ho about these things and I tend to just do them together. So this one, much, much darker. As you can see, the two different colours on this, much darker than the two colours are very different. So that's, I'm going to use those there. And I'm going to try Moody Mauve. Let me try Moody Mauve for the back and see what that looks like. I'll try it on this back wing first. Perhaps a little bit dark. I might come in with something else there. Quite like that as the dark bit. So I might just put in some dark here and then come in with a different colour, I think. A little bit too dark. Let us go with just going to try this colour here. I'm not sure it's going to go too well. It probably will. Try a bit of Flirty Flamingo. Might be a little bit bright. We can always darken it down a little bit. I mean, butterflies are such different colours. You can really play around and do what you like with them, I think. Let's try that and then try adding some of the darker stuff. Yeah, I quite like the darker bit instead, actually. We'll have more dark than light on here, I think. We'll just leave the light at the very edges. That one can go a bit darker there. Just bring that in here. Okay, so I've got an interesting coloured butterfly now, but I quite like it. Quite like that. So there we go. There's my very quickly coloured finished butterfly. Lovely, lovely. Love to know what you think about it. Well, let me know. But I didn't want to spend too much time colouring because I wanted to show you how to put the card together to make the spotlight bits. So it's a true spotlight on nature. So I'm going to bring in my back here. It's at the front of my card, so I'm going to stick that on first. Oh, I haven't done my sentiment either. I need to decide which sentiment to use. Do I use thanks or a dear friend? I think I might use a... Oh, I don't know. Can't decide. Again, let me know. Which one should I use? Dear friend or thanks? Which do you think? Could be a nice thank you card, this, or could be just a sort of note card. Dear friend, happy birthday. It could be happy birthday. It could be anything. So there's my base of my card. I'm going to stick the inside in it as well while I'm here. And again, I'm not going to do any further colouring to the inside because I want it, the rest of the card, to remain monochrome, just so that I've got a real standout bit with the spotlight. Now we could stick with just the one spotlight, but I've got two for this card just because, why not? I just felt like it. So this is the inside, slightly smaller, so I've got a bigger bit round the side. Yep, happy with that. So the spotlights, now we can decide. So I want this spotlight needs to line up because we've got the background image. We know exactly where we need to put it so that it matches to the image. But obviously I'm going to raise that. I want it to really stand out. So the best way to do that is with some dimensionals. So I don't want it to move at all. So I'm actually going to put quite a few on there. I use 3, which is a lot for me on something that small, but it'll be just right. So now I've got to be really careful when I'm putting it on. I want to line it up properly with the leaf and then press it down. There we go. So that's what we mean by a spotlight. Excuse my coughing. So I've coloured just the flower bit, left the rest of it as the monochrome in the background. So it really does stand out. Now, my idea was to add a butterfly too, but I'm actually thinking that might be too much for this card. Yeah, I'm not convinced about adding the butterfly as well. I think we're going to stick with that and just use a sentiment on it. I just didn't know how this card was going to turn out. I just wanted to play around and see, but I shall use the butterfly in a different card. And which one should we use? Oh, I think we'll go with the thanks. So I just need a small, use that one. Small block for that, and a scrap of card. We'll stamp that in. Might go back to grey granite and just stamp that actually. So we stick with that monochrome theme. I don't know what you think, but I quite like that idea. I hope this is going to be big enough. Yeah, I think it just is actually. There. So I might have coloured that butterfly for nothing. I shall use it in another card. That's not a problem. So I think we're going to have our thanks up here and might just put it on a little layer of grey granite. I put my grey granite away. I'll just go and get my grey granite card. There we go. So I just need a little strip of it. Let's see what bits I've got here. All sorts of bits, that will do. Yeah, we'll stick that on there. I'll show you what I'm going to do with this in a minute, but I'm going to stick it on first. Actually, no, I should have cut that first. Oops. Silly me. I'm going to actually banner this end, so I need to cut it first, which is really silly of me to put the glue on first, but never mind, we'll manage. So cut down the centre and then cut in from the sides to make my banner. Oh, really bit of a mess there. Also need a bit more glue on that, a little bit longer bit of glue. Ready for a new, come on. Yeah, ready for a new Tombow as well, I think. I have one out, but there we go, that's better. So I'm going to stick this on with the border at the top, roughly the size I want. There we go. That's better. I nearly made a mess of that by not doing my banner bit first, which is really silly. But now I've got this, I can actually use this as a template to cut my layer. Oop, sticking to me. There. So that gives me a layer behind. Yeah. See that okay? So yeah, so I stuck that on my bit of grey granite, and then I've used the shape that I cut the thanks banner to cut the grey granite. So I've got it the same, and then I can add it to the top up here. And I think I'm going to stick this on flat. I'm not going to put this one on dimensionals. So a bit more glue if I can get some out. Come on. I know there's a bit more in there. I can feel it. Oh, do you know what? Quickest thing is to get the new one out. I don't know why I do know why I always run out of Tombow very quickly, because I use so much of it, I suppose. There we go. I've got to be quite careful with a new one. I don't put too much glue on. Right. Okay, so I'm going to stick that so that my grey granite is right at the edge. So it runs into the grey granite at the side, and my white just finishes in time. So there you can see how I've managed that at the side. There's my spotlight, and that's my whole card. So I hope you like that idea, just spotlighting a little bit of an image. You can do it in blacks, in browns, in greys, any neutral colour that works well, and then bring out the colour of the bit you want to stick forward. So that's my card today. I hope you like it. I've got to go away and think what to do with my butterfly now, because I can't decide what to do with that, but I will use it at some point, definitely. But that is my card for today. So I hope you did like it. Let me know if you did, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock if you can join me. And I would love to see you then. So thank you for watching. I see there are people watching, even though nobody's made any comments. So I don't know who you are or where you're from. But thanks for watching anyway. And I will see you again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock if you want to join me on either Facebook or YouTube Live. I will be putting the details of this card in the blog, which will appear this evening. And you can find all the measurements there if you want to have a go at this card. Obviously, unless you're a demonstrator, you can't actually get this set yet. But when you can, at the beginning of May, I hope it's a bundle that you actually want to think about, because it really is beautiful. Oh, and I just remembered I was going to add a couple of smoky slate pearls to this, but do you know what? I'm not sure I want to. I think I might just leave it. Perhaps I'll do a card with a butterfly and add them then. Who knows? Anyway, it is a lovely set. I hope you think about it from the new catalogue. If you're living in Europe or Ireland, then get in touch. If you want me to be your demonstrator, I can send you a catalogue, send you the link to the online version of the catalogue. Obviously, if you join, there is a joining offer, which is that you get £130 worth of stuff from a catalogue for just £99, which is a really great offer, you know, at least 25% off, which is fantastic. And if you join now, you can actually get stuff from the new catalogue as a demonstrator. So that's one way to get it early if you want. Anyway, let me know if there's anything I can help you with. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope you have a go at a spotlight card with any of your sets that you've got at the moment. And as I say, hopefully we will meet again next Tuesday at 2 o'clock for another live. Thanks for joining me today.